Support for parenting is based on a foundation of respect that acknowledges and values different parenting styles and individual strengths of families. Early childhood staff can support families by being responsive to parents and encouraging family involvement at the service. These are some of the many ways that early childhood services can work with families to support their parenting. Being information hubs by providing access to resources and guidance. Sharing knowledge of child development and learning. Helping to strengthen families' existing knowledge and skills. Modelling positive interactions and strategies that enhance children's social and emotional learning. And using appropriate knowledge and experience to support parenting.
There's a lot of opportunity for connecting families with information. And I think one of the things we have to be really aware of is that not every educator knows everything about parenting, but they can certainly find out where you can find information, how you can link families to that information or to other services where they're most able to support families.
Well, at the moment there's quite a focus on nutrition and healthy eating. So I know there was a little parent seminar organised earlier this year for parents. There's also been a bit of information provided to parents about early literacy and numeracy, because I think that's something that families are often really interested in, but perhaps we don't understand how literacy and numeracy are tackled in early childhood these days.
Exploring any way that you can, in a non-judgmental way, support parents in their knowledge, because they already have a lot of knowledge, and to build on that in constructive ways. I think that's the way we do it.
So one of the things when you see parents coming along to the early childhood setting is you don't always know what's going on for them, and you don't always know what they're bringing to their role as a parent at the time. And I think for many parents there's a lot of there can be a lot of blame for them not parenting well at times, and it's really important as educators to be just really aware of what a hard job it can be at times, and how things like the stresses that are happening around a family can make it very hard to be confident in your parenting, assertive in your parenting, warm in your parenting, creative in your parenting, thoughtful, reflective.
I mean, one of the ways that I think works to support parenting is modelling. I think that has a very powerful role, and I think that when parents can see educators with children, and that's where it's really helpful to have a place that parents can feel they can sit and be observers, or be welcome in a service to watch and see educators at work. Because I think modelling, seeing how it's done in a way, is a very powerful parenting support.
So sometimes you'll find that there'll be a bit of a mismatch between the way that parents are raising their children and the way that the early childhood educators want to interact and care for the child. And that can lead to some real conflicts between the early childhood setting and the family environment. And it really requires, I think, that the early childhood educators need to explore with the parents about how do you raise your child? How do you handle situations of when there's a fight between kids? How do you handle teaching the child something new? How do you handle telling the child when they've done something wrong? And communicating and hearing what the parent is doing, and then being able to communicate about what the style that's being used in the early childhood setting is to the parent.
I think sometimes you might notice in your services that children and families might present with issues regarding their self-esteem or mental health, and that does change over time. So there might be particular times in family life that are really stressful. For example, families might be going through a divorce, or they might be going through periods of vulnerability, like dad might be unemployed or lost his job, or they've just moved into the area. All those things are high stress things, and that, those things can cause all kinds of behaviours and impacts on children and families that we need to understand. And I think we can help families through those life changes by providing consistent, predictable, safe environments for children every day. So they might go home every day and it's chaos, They know when they come into the early childhood service, it's going to be the same. They know where to put their bag, they know who's going to be there, they know they're going to get breakfast, and they're going to play. That's so helpful for children when they're going through stressful situations.
One other thing I think that's really important for early childhood centres is that it gives parents an opportunity to have some time out. And for a lot of parents who are struggling, they need as much support with their children as they do for themselves. And so safe in the knowledge that their child is going to be well looked after, then they can also seek help for themselves.
Encouraging parents to talk to each other, because I think they learn a lot from each other, and so I think the parents as partners with each other works really well. And so if you've got some parents who are interested, they may like to be resource people for other parents. I think that helps a lot.
It may also be that educators are mindful of some of the ways that parents indicate their concerns or anxieties about their parenting role and give them a sense of where they might go to find further support. So you may be able to help address some of those things in the very short term and those initial conversations, but some families might need extra assistance. And I know many services now are thinking about how they can support families to access the sorts of parenting supports that are now out in the community context.
Families' trust of the early childhood educator means that they might ask them for help where they won't ask someone else. So educators being aware of that trust and that great responsibility means that as a team they should prepare for when those questions are asked about parenting, so that in any service an educator is supported by everyone else as well to support families when they want some guidance or a pathway to connecting with other services and information.